I do not have to always explain myself. I don't know why you would anticipate me explaining my presence on a day that I'm not scheduled for things that have not been disclosed and in ways that you find intriguing, even compelling. What? I'm sorry, what? Today, we're gonna do a thing or two or three, because you never know. You never know. You never know. It's probably going to include the game we're working on. We're making this game. Did we tell you about the game? There's a game we're making, and I do want to tell you about this game. Watch me stall. Watch me stall for a moment, would you? Because I'll do it. I'm gonna stall. No joke. I told you this was gonna take a second. I'm really just checking to make sure the sound works, and I couldn't hear or see a thing. Now I can hear and see things. So we're good. Hey, what's up? This game, that's what's up. What are you gonna do? Work on the game, that's what's up. Uh, at the moment, uh, there's two things we could do, and I'm leaning toward one and then the other after that, just to sort of reduce the number of things on my plate. Yeah. One of the things is to redesign the cards because I think it's time to come back and make this look better. It's certainly clear. And the time that we tried to redesign this card previously, recently, it was much less clear, but perhaps looking a little better. So there's something about that we're going to do. But I think at the moment, I'm more concerned with finishing up what might just be the last bits of this stuff with the pearls. These pearls you can drop in a battle, and they are sort of the extra powerful collectible thing you can do if you complete a campaign. So we're there, and you can see I've begun to enter the actual data for the pearls, including the color and the description and stuff. Yeah, okay. One of the things we could do right now is I mentioned these pearls, once you drop them and you do some very powerful thing, there's a cooldown and you can't use it again that match or perhaps several matches. And then the cooldown is done. You could use it again. Maybe even there's lots of time involved. And at the moment, I'm thinking these are combined. You have a minimum number of matches you need to do and a minimum amount of time that also needs to pass before the pearl cooldown is done and you can use it again. Well, that means that while you're sitting here looking at the pearls that you have, the description has to include a little extra thing talking about the cooldown. How much time is left and how many matches need to pass before you can use the pearl again. Okay, so there's some GUI stuff to do. That said, there's one thing that we have done in terms of progress. Hi, how's it going? Um, we've added to the, we'll disable that. we've added to the number of pearls we have going on right now. I have been posting the designs of the pearl on Discord. And these are looking cool. They look cool, and the numbers don't mean anything, but the sound is this oh, I haven't finished these descriptions. These were short descriptions I put in there temporarily. Well, let's finish this up. The descriptions look good, and these numbers referring to the color are doing their job. It's great. I also have the numbers for the starting point for the cooldown. Okay, there's other data that takes over from there and just refers to these to start with, and actually does the counting down of time or matches and stuff until the cooldown is done. Actually tracking the cooldown. This is just the maximum amount, yeah? Okay, fire and ice is a blast of fire and then a blast of ice. Which is to say, all opponent cards are hit with a power 2 attack. Do I need to say immediately? Yeah. It's a blast wave, but I mean, so it'll be special effects, but it is immediately as soon as you drop the pearl, right? Then all opponent cards. I need to be explicit about the rules and be very particular because the language will translate into programming logic I need to follow, and I want the description to be the same. So there's no discrepancy between what players believe will happen and what they see. Our okay, and there's no need to describe how long this effect lasts because I just described the entire effect. All opponent cards are hit with a power 2 attack. Then all opponent cards are held from moving or attacking for 1 battle cycle. Fire and ice. So let me just complete that description. The lava bomb. This opens up a lava pool on the battlefield. Any cards at the location of the position location of the lava pool attack. It's not actually an attack, it's a hazard. So they take a power 7 attack. So if this is clear enough, any cards at the location. This is opponent card or friend or foe. I should say that, huh? Like I originally said that. Friend or foe. Any cards, friend or foe, at the location of the lava pool take a power 7 attack as damage each battle cycle. Now I say this pearl's effect ends at the round end. So there's a time limit for all these. I mean, they're either an instant effect or they last a little while. This one lasts a little while. It's a big deal. And some of these pearls that I've been talking about actually are getting to be a bigger and bigger deal. This Grand Protection, this actually turns up the defense all the way to 10 on all your cards for one battle cycle. And that's pretty good, right? Well, way down at the bottom of the list, which is to say the most rare cards, I reserved for special, and they're not available yet because I'm going to leave them to the end. But I do know what they're going to be. They're going to be black holes. I'm going to call them void. There's the micro void, and a minor void, a major void, and a greater void. These are going to basically eliminate opponent cards. You can eliminate 1, 2, 3, or 4 cards. That is totally overpowered, and I can't think of another, way to say this is the most powerful card. It is the most rare, so it makes sense. This creates a significant black hole on the battlefield. 4 enemy cards are pulled into the black hole immediately and are destroyed. This effect ends after that. So it is just huge. It's meant to be huge. And I spent a little time figuring out how they should look. So they look slightly different, but long story short, they look like black holes. And that's cool. So I got a little ways to go, but right now there are 15 cards, 0 to 14. And, pearls. And so if we collect some, we should be able to see more of it. But I'm really actually thinking about this now. This cooldown stuff is set here based on how powerful they are. And I'm not exactly sure. Like, for example, these super ones, of course, this greater void is going to have the most insane cooldown. It's probably going to be something in the neighborhood of you're going to be spending a lot of matches and a lot of time, even days, even a week before you can use this again. In fact, I wouldn't be above saying, whatever time it takes to call this 7 days, right? And whatever match number that correlates to how many matches you would reasonably do if you were playing this game a lot. Not grinding night and day, but playing it a lot. That could conceivably be 50 matches. And so somewhere in the neighborhood of this might be the top end of how long the cooldowns are, how much of a cooldown there is on these things, right? If this is the maximum, and I don't know that it is, but I'm just saying, if this is, then we have something to work from, because between 0 and this, we have 64 slots to fill in. And it seems like we could do things like what if this was 6.4 days and 64 matches, right? Well, now we've got a gradation we could do, right? I think it's reasonable to say this is probably a good thing. If you actually use this pearl and blow away the opponent and basically win a round instantly because of it, you should have to wait that long. You should be grinding that hard. Like, you have to wait 7 days, but if you haven't played 50 matches yet, you still got more to do before this is ready, right? So it's both time and matches to complete before the cooldown is done. I think this is reasonable because I want to be able to do completely over the top, overpowered cards. Sorry, pearls. And I want to see this reflect the balance that needs to be there, right? If this is that powerful, then that's the balance. Okay. So if this, and I don't know exactly what these numbers are, but that's my guess, right? If I have the cooldown for these things, which I don't yet, but I want to be able to test and make sure I can use them. I want to at least be able to work out the display, but I also want to work out the making sure the cooldown actually works, right? Now I think one or two of my um, accounts actually have pearls that we can test with. So I will, yeah, power boost. So for example, I can set um, this to see if it is actually counting down time, right? And we are already tracking time. In a way, these profiles are already doing that. I'm counting time in terms of the matches you have played, and that's not exactly the match. Sorry, the time that I was thinking about for the Pearl cooldown. Okay, the number of matches you play, yeah, that is what I'm talking about. But this this is reflecting how much time you were in a match. Right? An hour, 37 minutes, and 1 second is how long this profile has been in a match, selecting cards, moving into battle, etc. Right? Outside a match, as soon as the match ends, this clock stops. Right? I'm thinking more like this. This is actually just one number that sits there statically and is compared to now to determine how many days ago was this profile created. I'm thinking more like that. So I actually want the time of now compared to, how do I say this? There's a time at which you dropped this pearl, and then the clock starts. It starts at the top. That's the number that we're putting here. This is the top. And then there's another piece of data that is actually counting down. Let's go find that data actually. Because this is the data we're looking at now on that list, the master list of pearls. This is what you have in your collection, and it does refer to elements in the master list, this, but then we know whether or not you dropped it, and if you have dropped it, if you have not dropped it, you can drop it, right? But once you have dropped it, this turns true, and this cooldown stuff starts. I used to think I might do either or. Like it is a match cooldown pearl, or it is a time cooldown pearl. And now I'm starting to think I don't actually want to use that. I think it's going to be both all the time. I could change my mind, but here's my thinking. I mean, I've already changed my mind, but here's my thinking on it. If it's a really powerful pearl like the black hole, I do want both, and I want it to be that hard. If it's a really minor pearl, I still want both because I can, well, cleanly, I can set both to 0 and it's just, you could just drop it again. But um, there's some logic to the idea that I'm going to need to wait a moment and I'm going to need to play through some matches without it. That is a proper cooldown to me where it is a penalty for a number of matches and a penalty for time. If it was only matches, I would grind through some quick play matches and then get back to the campaign if I wanted to go through a campaign. If it was only time, I would stop playing the game and come back later. Do you see how this needs to be both? So I'm not sure I'm going to use this. And in fact, I should do my magical thing. The data, yeah, actually it's running right now. I think I can just do this. Hold on to your butts. because it's running, because the game was running when I did that, me switching the data and which normally would cause a problem. I'm reading this data and it needs to match, then I save the data and it better match. Because it was running here, what I save out now had that change. And so when I read it again, everything's fine. It does match. So it's a tricky thing that I got to do, and I'm still paranoid about it and saving off backups of the data. But I think this is true. I think I need both, always. I do implement this data. It is actually part of the profiles. This Perl order does relate to which Perl you've collected and when. I am not yet saving that held data, but I need to. So the only way that, because this is great to have that number, but I can't run down a cooldown on pearls from here. This is like a library, a master reference for what pearls are in their ideal state. This is your pearl. This is what you've done with your pearl. And so while it refers to the library, this is what you've done with it. It might be dropped or not. It might be somewhere in your cooldown. So this actually needs to be part of the profile data. So again, I'm going to let this run. And while it's running, I'm going to change the data. I always feel a little nervous when I do this. This is, again, there's nothing wrong with this, right? If I actually, yeah, it's serializable, first of all, meaning it could be easily changed into ones and zeros in a binary format. But I'm going to do a series of these, which I get nervous about because it's a custom struct. That said, everything here and everything that it refers to here is all generic variable types. String, int, and floats and bools are all fine. That tells me I should be able to do this. Wow, I really don't know. Watch me totally bork the data. What is this? A suggestion? Thanks. Thanks. Yeah, nice. Helms. Is this us? Really? This is your suggested? That's your suggested. No, thanks. 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 These are all suggested. That's so awesome. Thanks, dude. What are you even doing, Visual Studio? So these are the pearls that are collected. Not the pearls you have, but a reference to which ones you have, right? This is which order you collected those pearls in. That is true. And I'm already in a little bit of, I should think this through. This is here to preserve the order in which the collection is done. However, I could do the same thing with this, actually. I should just replace this. I have data that does this already. So if I do this, I'm going to need to do something about that data. First things first, let's get this in place. This will be your collection, and it will include your collection order. This is not the list of pearls that you have collected. This is, sorry, how do I say this? You have collected a number of pearls off the master list. You have it or you don't. This refers to that. This refers to which one you got when, in what order. But I can actually do that here as well and have more to say with this. So I can get rid of that, but I need to do some special stuff to make this happen. So, okay. First things first, this is a profile data change, meaning I'm going to have to actually change something here. Oops. Something here. Because as soon as I say, oh wait, I've already implemented these things for different things. Yeah. Stop. I have those, the collection order used. Yeah. Okay. Um, do I want to just keep all of this? I don't think so. But I mean, it seems silly to have this extra. But for right now, maybe that makes some sense. I mean, for right now, yes, that does make sense. But maybe eventually I will undo that. Get held pearls sounds pretty good, actually. Where this is exactly that. Mm-hmm. I don't think held is a great name, actually. But I'll leave it. This is complaining that it doesn't have a return value. No big deal. I'm landing on held and I'm not happy about that name. Visual Studio. I want to be able to type. Can you get out of my way, please? I'm saying 0, but that's wrong. I mean, okay, so I got this there. This also needs to exist in a function I use to copy. Oh, and this doesn't exist yet. Hold on. It's all got to sort of happen at the same time. So save. Now this exists. And I say held. No. Yeah, pearls collected sounds better than held. Collection is the collection master list compared to what you got. It's the order in which you got it, and then this is the stats on the pearls you actually have. I think there's that. I'm gonna go back and forth on those names. What else? This should literally be And so we get and we set, and this is reasonable. Yeah, this is not. I don't like these names. And I don't want to say get collected pearls because that will be confusing. Get profile collection. Actually, that makes sense. Collection order. Okay, okay, okay. Actually, okay. Yeah, okay. This is slightly different. I should probably put some good comments on there to make this make sense. Oh, this returns. Okay. Okay. So I'm doing all this while I'm in play mode. It's saved, and I think what I've got is an array of this kind of data, so it could hold a cooldown. I'm going to keep this for now. I know this is redundant because I'm going to also put this in that same order. There's some security stuff I've been thinking about, which is to say, if somebody tries to cheat, let's pretend we actually release the game. And somebody went into the data and said, oh, here's the collection. Oh, I could just click all of this on. I could turn this to be the highest number and I have all the pearls. But I'm going to say, oh, yeah? How many pearls do you have in the order? If this number is different, I know you cheated. Likewise, if this number is different, I know you cheated. So there's some sense in doing and going down that road a little bit. I don't know. I'm playing with the idea. So I'll leave this here for now. Because I'm doing it in play mode, it should be good. Sanity check, and hold on to your butts. Did it work? Looks like it worked. Okay, good. So, cool. Apparently our profile data now includes this, a series of these things. And it's empty. Some of our profiles already have proper data that includes the pearl order and which ones they've collected. I need to do a little bit of code to sort of repair those profiles such that this also is filled in based on which pearl it was and what order it is. All right. Will do. None of them have been dropped, obviously. So these match cooldown numbers can stay 0, but the data needs to refer to the right pearl, and the series, the array of held pearl data needs to be in the same order as this. So I can go to the place where I read this, because I do, and go ahead and set this to be a zeroed out array of the same length pointing to the same pearls. All right. The rest of this okay for now. I'll leave it alone. Yeah, I think it's okay. I'm gonna leave this alone now. And I'm wondering if I need to actually set some values here. Not until I actually drop them, right? I'm gonna test drop just to get the cooldown to start working and then display it. And I'll work that out in a minute. Let's go ahead and go to that spot where we take a look at the collection. There we go. We are forming the carousel, and we do it based on the order in which the pearls you've collected for your profile. So we actually read in all that data, including the order. That is happening right here. Yeah, all the carousel items are filled in based on how many you have. And see, I'm even using held pearl data, but I'm actually making it brand new every time. So it's kind of a fake. Well, instead, I could and should now read the actual profile data because we have an array of held pearls. Because it's empty, this is me now writing code to prepare the data first, and then I'll implement it, right? Because I need the data to be set first. This is me saying, however many pearls you have in your collection, now make an array of the held pearls. I use that, well, kind of everywhere. This explicitly makes it from scratch and sets, for example, the data to be the right thing. Great. Can I just can I save this to the profile? Make it. I mean, if your profile didn't have pearls, this doesn't happen. If your profile has pearls, make it, yes, make it the right size. Fill it in with the right data in the right order. Yep, that's what this is. At that moment, this is proper because this finishes all carousel items with this profile's held pearl data. Well, if that's true, I'd like to think that it is. On initialize carousel, I should be able to say, fill in this data and set pearls collected. Now, this is temporary. I just need to fix the data, but I think this is right. I did recently save a copy of the data, and although it doesn't include the change we just made, this probably works. I think this works. This profile's here. We go here. And at this moment, this profile's data should be repaired. So if how do I confirm that actually? That's a great question. I actually need to do something about that. I don't know. So I think I can go through and perform this, but I need to actually confirm this worked. Both Doggo and Monkey have the power boost pearl. I don't think Admin has anything. Pretty sure it does not. Don't use it for any of those purposes, so it does not. And so save. I mean, I think it does, actually. I think I just repaired the data, which means I can get rid of this. And instead of relying on this routine to make this, I'm just going to go get it. And in fact, I'm not even going to set this. Do I use this anywhere else? Like, I'm going to get the Perl data. Oh, I do. I use it all over the place. Okay, cool. So I need that data. This Perl based on the Perl list. You know what? That's not terrible. But I no longer need to do this. I don't really want to get rid of it without noting why I'm doing that. Award pop-up. So the award pop-up is the one where we say you found a pearl. That is actually where we generate the random number that allows you to collect a particular pearl or not. This is no longer a thing. We don't want to do this anymore. This is now, hey, save manager, get pearls collected. Now, if our data is repaired, then that line should work. Oof, I gotta say, I think the only way we can tell is if these colors actually get filled in properly. And no, that's coming from this. So how do I know? How do I know? This pearls, where is this used? Of course, I used the word that's everywhere. No, where's, oh, there we go. I'm using it where? Oh, when I'm moving the carousel, I am absolutely doing a lot of stuff with the color. And I grab that straight from the data that you currently have, similar to what I'll do with the cooldown. But I don't think I use it anywhere else. Here we go. Yes, I do. The name and the description. Okay, this makes sense, actually. Yeah. So if the data worked, if the data is indeed repaired, this will be okay and I can confirm it. If it doesn't work, I will have ruined the data. I will need to go back and remake the data, re-repair it, and remake it. So, you know, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I find manipulating data to be a particularly precarious thing, and it is very different than the care that I take when I'm writing code. If I make a mistake in the code, I'm about to find that mistake because I'm going to do some thorough testing. If I make a mistake with data, I just lost and I need to go repair or remake. Hey. So this description, these colors, this is coming from a reference to the master list of pearls that is on this profile's list of held pearls, which should include now the cooldown. We can test that theory, but I think that is correct. Okay, that's true. I should be good to start using this now. The first thing I want to do is actually set up a display. Because what's going to happen is, great, now I've got this. I want to read this data and compare it to the original values to determine, like a progress bar or whatever, a countdown, right? Because it's cooling down and it's saying you have a number of matches to do and you have, I don't know, how many matches left, or you have this much time left, right, in the cooldown. I will probably noodle that language as well, but okay, cool. Power boost. I think that's what the two cards, Monkey and Doggo, had. So let's go ahead and play with this. I'm going to say you need to play 3 matches before you can do it again. I don't know if that's good. I have no idea. The time, I'm literally thinking this is seconds. I mean, clearly 60 seconds is a minute. 3,600 seconds is an hour. Math. This is a day. And this is a week. So, I don't think I want to make it a day, but an hour actually sounds pretty good. You've got the power boost and you can breeze through 3 matches in like 10 minutes. Yeah, cool. But I'm not going to let you do it in 10 minutes. Make you wait an hour? That's actually kind of drastic. Half an hour? All right, 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Yeah. So you got to wait 10 minutes and play through 3 matches in order to get the power boost back. That sounds reasonable. I'll go ahead and set these the same for all of the boost pearls, which I kind of set as they aren't totally nerfed and dumb. They're actually pretty powerful, but I also want them to be common. I want these to be the first ones you get and the ones that everyone has. I'm down with that. It affects 1 stat for 1 battle cycle. Oh no, for the round. For the round. So it's actually really powerful. This might be too much, actually. Like not enough cooldown to balance it, but whatever. I need to test this. So this is the master list. It's fine to mess with this. This doesn't mess with our data at all. And these haven't technically dropped yet. I'm going to have to do some trickery to make it think that it has dropped. But now our profiles have this data. I'm going to leave this here for now. I guess it's okay to have both these here for now. The reason is I'm looking at what I do with it here, and it makes some sense that I like get the list and just use that as a quick reference for which pearl so I can get the proper data on it. I'm going to do the same thing when I set that data, which, by the way, I should immediately go do. This is me reading, sorry, this is me reading that data, right? You'll get that data, right? I'll just remove this. I don't need it. I need to, and now that I've confirmed that this exists and it works, and just so it's fine. I need to create it in the Word pop-up. So, um, yeah, like literally while the carousel moves, it refers to the original color data because it's modifying the color of it. And if it's destructive, if it stores the data after it's modified, then I can't get back what was lost. Instead, I constantly refer to the original data so that I can modify it from there because it is further back and should be dark, or it is up close and should be full alpha, that kind of stuff. So that's why I do all this, and I refer to that data. I'm going to do something similar. Okay, I'm sort of between two tasks. Let me finish one, I'll do the other. First thing is labels. I would like to, this is the, I guess I'll call it match cooldown and time cooldown. You're looking at the Pearl, you're reading the description, and over in the bottom corner, you have a label. I'm taking wild guesses at where it needs to be. This label, the rest of this I think is okay. Actually, it is the same everything, so it's a good place to put this. Not word wrapped though. So match cooldown is what I will call it. I know this is not a good name. It's not a good label. It doesn't describe what it is really. It's a bad label. I'll have to figure it out. Because that's related to how does the player read this and what does it mean when we say that? And I don't think I've found a good one yet. It's okay. We'll fix it later. Time cooldown. The rest is okie dokie. It's reused. That's why I do this pattern the way I do it. Okay. And in that way, when we go to the collection screen, we are going to see match cooldown and time cooldown in this lower corner, and I'm going to have to adjust all this. Now that starts at 7. It's 70% across from the left, and it is 10% screen size wide, which means I'm going to start the next display, actually. Oh, I should just make this 2. Because this is current item. Is that how I reference this? Sure is. This is going to be The match cooldown is an integer. Yeah, this is, I need to think about how I want to display this. Match cooldown doesn't mean anything right now, right? It doesn't mean anything to the player. And what number I'm going to display, I know what it means, but I need to communicate that super well, and I'm not. This is awful. I was about to do something in the neighborhood of compare this to the actual full cooldown, which I need to do in some way. I need to say this number in relation to oh, wait a minute, this is the original. Okay. So this is the full amount. This is the top end. This is where the cooldown starts. And I need to subtract. This is kind of what I was doing, right? How many matches are left? Actually, that's how I should say this. Matches remaining? I don't know how to say this. And not only is it a long name, but yeah, I'm not happy with any of this. Actually, this doesn't make sense, and it's clunky. But Pearl's current item, and this is this match cooldown. So this is the current subtracted from the maximum, and it tells me how many are remaining. Yes, that's true. That's better. It's just not good. I'm totally unsatisfied with that. But I can at least test, and that's the point. Now I can test multiple things, which I don't recommend doing, but I can test the, and this needs to be formed completely differently. This is not an integer. This is a float. I'm going to test multiple things, but I don't recommend that usually because you need to be able to narrow down what is working and what is not, and that gets a lot harder when you're testing multiple things. That said, I'm feeling pretty confident and a bit risky, so boom. Okay, so this is not right. This is going to give me a number, but it doesn't mean anything. In fact, it's going to give me a large floating point number, which is garbage. It's in seconds. Whatever. I'm just going to do it for now. This needs to be, yeah, time display, which is going to be very similar to what I do in the profile page. So I'll go find that code and reuse it. So what do I got here? Matches remaining. This is going to say 0, but at least I can look at the numbers and figure it out. That's my plan. Award pop-up needs to have this is acquiring, this is actually collecting. And it is right here that I want to be able to figure out you are adding a new piece of data. This is the collection order is already being added to. That's what this is. I've added to, there we go. See, get it? And then add and save that back as your collection order. I need to do the exact same thing. In fact, because this is the same thing, I should be able to piggyback on this and just insert what I want, because it is, you know what? It's silly that I have the same effectively the same data twice because I have this here only to preserve the order in which you collected pearls. This could effectively do the same thing. That's silly, but it's very convenient that I've already done the work and I could just do this. You see why now I was noodling that name for so long. It's because I'm going to start using it in multiple places and I want it to be consistent and non conflicting. Hey, Save Manager, give me the pearls that are collected, right? Go get that. In the same way that I got the collection order, go get the pearls collected. And now these are the same. This is also going to be applied. Go through. And this is literally adding just for the collection order, but this is actually adding the new one first, right? Okay, and this temporary is for this, but I'm going to piggyback on this and use held pearl temp 2. I know. It's very silly. Yes, I could use that actually. That makes sense. Isn't that interesting that I used the collection size as the length? Actually, it makes sense. If the length was 0, this collection size would be 0. If the length was 1, this gets to be 1. Actually, that is the same. That is the same. And because I'm going to use that here, it makes sense. This is where I need to say -1. Because this is coming from something that is 1 less. When I'm referring to an index, it starts counting from 0. So I need to say -1 before it goes too far. Oh yeah, and nice. I say start at 1 because 0 is reserved. Got it. See? I'm just piggybacking on this code. I don't need to I don't need to redevelop this. So this doesn't just have a number. This has p data, and in fact the rest of this data is blank. Like I don't care if that's false and this is 0 and that's 0. I don't care. But this refers to this data. Which needs to be data that we get from the master list. A collect. Is it get? This list. From master collection, okay? That's right. Rand, this one. Okay. And now that that is set in the first one, the rest is just me copying the original, and it's the same length. These have to be the same length. Same index, same length, same order, same everything. It has to be. Current collected pearls in the same way. See, that's what I mean by piggybacking a little bit. And then just the same, I set pearls collected. Yep. Okay. When we acquire a new pearl, go to our special stuff and find the, common ones before the rare ones. Then go check out how many we already have, the order of them, or set up adding a new one by having temporary arrays for the order in which we collect the pearls we have +1, and the data on the pearls we have +1. Then actually go get the order of the pearls that we have and the pearls that we have data. So now set this new one to be the first of both those arrays. And then you can copy the original data to this temporary that's already been stacked with our new, and those temporary arrays get saved. I think that's right. Okay, I'm going to close that. Be really confident. Now, time display. Yeah, I'll do that. But right now, what I need to see is in the collection screen, there will be a display. And because the data is there, now that we've prepared it, you should see a 0. Some zeros. That's good, that's good, that's good. Actually not in a bad spot. But I do want it over here, and I want it to be sort of stacked. So let's stack it first. And I can actually justify these and put it right there if I know where there is. There's the box. Box is width of 9, starting at 0.5. Okay, so literally saying this is at 9 minus whatever, 2.5. Okay, so this is actually this. And I'm going to say this alignment is right. Sorry, middle right, middle right. Correct? Oh, I think we just lost the data. It's okay. I'm going to put padding on this as well, because this is right on the edge. That's great. But I'm going to put some padding on it. On the right. Yeah. Now this is an integer because it's counting pixels. Thanks, Unity. But I'm going to say that is percentage of screen space. It's not a big percentage, but it is a percentage. Yes. A little bit more. A little bit more. And yeah, I don't think the language is right. Matches remaining in time cool. Time remaining, I guess, just to be consistent. It's a cooldown. Yes, that is true. But I'm not describing this well enough yet. So I could say like cooldown right here. I don't know yet. I don't I don't want so many words. Time remaining needs, that makes sense. Matches remaining would be consistent, so I'm going to stick with that for now. But what I would love is while you're sitting here looking at your collection, and by the way, this needs to fade out as well. I need to think about that. Yeah, let's do. Easy. What I need is a time display. Yeah, see, this makes more sense. Now, one may wonder, why did you spend so much time fading out the text and fading it up, even if it's like for a quarter second or whatever? Well, look how much clearer it is that this relates to that relates to this. Like, it's about the clarity and communication to the player. So I need a time display. I need to test that this data actually works. But what I would like is you're sitting here looking at the collection, and this time is actually ticking down. That's what I would like. And I can do that. That's not a big deal. But I mean, in fact, the Perl data is constantly checking. Well, I guess maybe here is the only time it needs to actually reflect the time remaining. That's the only time it needs to compare current now versus, wait a minute. How am I actually doing that? Am I counting it down like I would be with matches remaining, or am I comparing time by setting a time stamp? Like, you dropped the Perl at 3 o'clock, and so you have to wait till 4 o'clock. And so now this time remaining only needs to check now versus 4 o'clock. Or do I say it's an hour and this data is constantly being revised? Oh, that sounds terrible. I don't want to do that. Well, now you see why I wanted to spend a little time on this one tiny little bit. First of all, it will matter. I can now see descriptions of the pearls. The pearls look cool, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But this is really the balancing feature and what players will care about. If I use this speed boost, how much time before I can use it again? By the way, this is speed and health boost. Let's go into Doggo for a second. Okay. So I do need to compare how many matches have you played since that time you dropped the pearl, right? And that's exactly the same thing as saying you dropped the pearl at 3 o'clock. You have to wait till 4 o'clock. Oof. Okay, so I actually need to do it that way. What I'm trying to think out loud about is the fact that when this data is, it's like this is data that we'll set here. Sorry. here, and we'll call it done, like this, right? This is done. This data gets set, and originally I was saying it should be set to this number, and then it will count down, which is fine. I mean, that's technically what a cooldown is. I will, of course, display it that way for the player no matter what I do. However, in practical terms, what I need to probably do is this. This means 1 hour, or actually, no, this means 10 minutes. So what this might need to be is a timestamp, 10 minutes from now. Like the moment you drop it, go figure out what now is in a float number, and now set this to be that plus 10 minutes. So that here I can do this based on what now is versus that number and give you an actual countdown in real time. I'm definitely going to need to do something like that here. I mean, because like, this calculation doesn't make any sense at all. This doesn't at all relate to how many matches have I played since I dropped it. There's nothing related to the profile. Whoops. So either I constantly come in and ping this data on the current profile and update it, or I can't set this match remaining data. Well, here I can't do that at all because let's say I stop playing for a little while. There's no countdown. So it actually needs to be a timestamp. All right, I'm going to think about that for a second while I take a short break and warm up some tea. Yes, tea with a capital T. So I will do that. Give me 2 seconds. I will be right back. I just thought of another way in which the balance could happen in the pearls. Instead of just a cooldown, you could literally say, yeah, you can use it, and then you have uncollected it. You don't have it in your collection anymore. That could actually be the extreme that those black holes have. Okay, so I think this is true. I think I actually need to do a calculation on um, setting a number. Actually, this I can do this right here. I don't need to actually save it for later. Instead of saying just this, which is the amount of time. No, this is wrong. What I need to do when I drop a pearl, this needs to be the current number of matches you have played previously, and you're in a match now, so it's like that plus one. And then you add to it this number of matches that you have to go still. That way, this number becomes, the match you're on plus 3 or whatever. So here, it's showing you how many matches are left. And I should be able to say, yeah, this is a large number of matches and you haven't played them yet, right? But if I subtract the number of matches you have played, which is to say, hey, save manager, get me, well, current profile, what's it called? Matches played. So right now, this is data that says 0, and so this should give me a negative number when I go look at it. But what I will do then is say conditional display that match cooldown is more than matches played. Okay. So I'll implement that conditional in a second so that it doesn't actually show you that there's a time remaining if there's no time remaining. Like, you can drop it now. Go for it. And I might actually make it a conditional that needs to display 0 while there's still time remaining, or vice versa, because both these need to be cleared before you can drop. I think that's true. Okay. But that means that when I drop a pearl, I'm going to look at matches played, do the math based on this number, and set this. So this is future number of matches you have to finish, okay? Likewise, this is totally wrong. I'm not going to refer to that. Just look at this. This has to be a timestamp. And the only issue there is how much time can I hold in a float? This is a float. It is in seconds, and I definitely want to count down in seconds. Absolutely. Now, it's a floating point precision number, which means it can hold lots of decimal places. I actually need to hold lots of, large number. So I want to know what the limit is on this. I need to look at now. That is true. In fact, let's go ahead and find now. Actually, I don't want to find now here in update GUI or whatever. This is every frame, so is this, but I can limit this to the second and just check it less often. I don't know that it matters much. There's start. Where's update? Bruh. There it is. And if we're not looking at the carousel, it doesn't matter. There's the item display timer. We're handling the look of the pearls based on where they are. So I am looking at a pearl at this point. I have to be. No, this is it rotating. This is whether or not we're displaying it. Can I use this for the fade up, fade down? Indeed. I'm either fading up or fading down. So only if item is displaying and timer is 0? I think so. Because this counts down? Yes. Okay, so if item display timer is 0 and item displaying, then we need to do this. All right, that's fine. I'll do that one. If item displaying and item display timer is 0, then we'll do this calculation. Otherwise, I won't bother with it. I guess I actually need to define the float anyway. Is it okay calling it time? Yeah. All right. That means I want to go find time now, which is to say, hey, time, go get real time. I'm not. No, I'm actually talking about the system time, like the clock time, the actual go look on the computer and check what time it is. I need to do the same thing when you drop a pearl. It is called date time. Is it not? And now is the thing, and it gives me a variable type of date time, which is probably okay. What is ticks? Oh, wow. Yeah, of course, it's a huge number. Now, there's a trick or two I can do to make this easier, but this does not equal that. That's wrong. This ticks is what, like literally a number of ticks since something like the year 1980 or something crazy. I need to know what now is actually. Now, show me what now is, please. You're not going to explain it to me, are you? Well, kind meaning it's going to be kind to me, really? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have a hard time doing this because it is a very large number. So large that it's a long. Not an unsigned long, but a long. That's still 64 bits of data. A lot of data. Very big number. And it makes sense, but can I just hear, you know what I need to do? It's this. I need to do this conversion. as this, and now work with that, right? Because this um I'm able to track real time because the engine understands when it started to begin a clock, and I can go look at that clock, and it's super accurate. It's down to milliseconds and such. But this daytime stuff, I'm not so sure it has that. Oh, it has milliseconds, doesn't it? No, it does. But it's in integers, which kind of makes sense actually, because this is how you would use it. What I kind of need to do is say, yeah. What time is it? And I do want it down to seconds at least, I suppose. And what I'm going to try and do from here is determine what I would do when you dropped a pearl, how this gets set, because then I can do just a subtract like this. One of the tricks that I was thinking of doing is when I do the profile. Hi, how's it going? What's up? When I do the profile, I am doing something similar for the calculation of how many days have you had this account created. Here we go. And I am doing this. It's because this date is working on days. That's almost helpful. It's not, but it's almost helpful. I really want this, but in days, I think that's total overkill. But I do want to at least say, hey, if you waited 3 days and you're only supposed to wait 10 minutes, you're fine. I want to immediately know that and know that it's done. Uh, this value I pass into this function is something I'm saving on the profile. That's how this gets formatted. It knows how to take seconds and turn it into hours, minutes, seconds, and milliseconds, actually. And it's because I can tick up the number of seconds you're in the match that this all works. This won't work that way. I really like the idea of saying you have a long way to go before you can use it again. But I have a feeling that, like, I need to take current time plus the cooldown. This cooldown added to the current time, and then save that number here. I don't know, I can do current time as a float. And so while I can definitely set this, I don't know that I can start with now as a float. Like this, I don't think is a thing. But if I do get there, then I can do this, and that's what this should be. I just don't know how to do that because I have a strong feeling that number is way too big. Way too big. Oh, hi. I'm so sorry. I'm sitting here, I look over at my phone, I realize I have been in the jungle. Whoops, sorry. I'm looking at this. While the matches remaining math is relatively straightforward as long as I set this appropriately, the time is going to be difficult because setting this number means saying this. The cooldown is easy. This is hard. I don't know how to say make a float value from whatever now is because I want now to include days, months, years. I think that's way too big. Now I could add to this data what, instead of saying now meaning years, right? I mean, because what I'm doing on the profile screen, rather than counting seconds from when you created it, I just look at days. Days is fine, actually. This calculation is relatively straightforward. The creation date, this can tick up and cover many, many, many years. It's totally cool. So if I can have something like this take care of the very large number, then I can just do the smaller number from there. In other words, if I add day to this data, I think I can do that actually. I think it's okay to do that. I've been doing a lot of data repair today and I'm a little concerned about it. So far, so good. Let's see if we can just keep doing this. I hit play. So I can do this. See, while I hit play, actually all 4 accounts, that's what this says, all 4 accounts have been loaded. So while it's sitting there waiting on me, I can say day. And by the way, this is a integer. Indeed. This is fine. I can say day dropped. This is similar to the creation date of the profile, which was a relatively straightforward thing to say. Find today as an integer. And I can do the same thing here. That relieves me from making this a ginormous number. And instead, it can be, this can be the integer referring to the day it was dropped. This can refer to how much time is left in seconds, milliseconds, minutes, hours, even days. So I can have 7 days, no problem, actually. I just can't do months and years. So that can be handled here. The rest can be handled here. Okay, I think that's going to work. Okay, it's a warning, not an error. But I do want to fix that option. No. These tiny little buttons, I swear. I mean, it's my mouse sensitivity is high because I play Valorant, and these buttons are small because my screen is tiny. Okay. I believe that worked. I think it saved. I think it loaded. I think we're good. That means that our profiles now include this. Sorry. Our profiles include data that has held pearls. And held pearl data includes which day was it dropped. And I will set this in the same way that I set the profile data creation date. So that is also a thing. From January 1st of this year. That's how I make that easy, right? And I will do exactly the same thing. When you drop a pearl, I'll go look at the day from January 1st. Yeah. With that set, this dropped pearl now knows what day it was dropped. And now this can just be the time from midnight. No big deal. So we can go on for a week. No big deal. Easy. We can go for a week from that midnight. No big deal. Okay. I'm convinced. This will work. This will work. First of all, I need to go find that. Well, I'll do that when I drop a pearl. I haven't have that logic yet. But I do want to say this is a day. And so if today, which is today based on from January 1st, if that number is larger than this, then it's beyond the day it was dropped for sure. So what does that mean? Hey, wait a minute. I'm not accounting for this year. I'm just saying the day of the year. Okay, this is. Can I please fix me? Yeah. I need to actually say this. I can't just fudge it for now. Because the day of the year is great, but I actually need to add bunches of. I need to add 365 or whatever it is. Yeah. It's been fine while I prototype this thing, but it's going to be inaccurate. Well, next year. So I do need to do a time display. And in fact, I might just grab this function. Yep. Because it's just giving me proper, I should have this as a utility function somewhere. But for now, I will copy code. Be really lame like that. Yar. Okay. So that I may have the same function in two different classes. That's totally fine. Don't care for it. I mean, it is not okay, but that is what I'm doing. Okay. This is going to be, I'm going to call it time cooldown, in fact, because sorry, left. And I'm gonna say that's what needs to be formatted. What was it called? Format? So that when this is done, it knows to just go grab that and right? And the time left. Yeah, if these things aren't, if there is no cooldown, I won't be displaying this at all. In other words, the pearl is ready to drop. You don't need to wait, right? But for right now, okay, so this date time might help because I can say, first of all, give me date time. And this has to include day from day of year, yes. Now this is exactly what I'm doing in the profile screen, which is, as I just mentioned, not going to work beginning next year. I need to compare this to yeah, the pearls current item um, um, day drop. Wait, is this what are we looking at? Oh, it's upset that I'm in the middle of a line of code and not completing it. Okay, what am I gonna do with this then? For now, I'm gonna make it an integer called blah d. No, I swear I've used all these integers. Q. Okay, whatever. Because I just need to get I need to get Visual Studio off my back is what I need. This is the day of the year should be more, might be more, or it's the same. So if I subtract the day it was dropped, pearls, current item, day dropped. So this number might be negative. If that's true, okay. And if it's the same, right, if it's zero, right, this will never be a positive number. Wait, it could be a positive number because days have passed since the day you dropped, right? Okay. I'm looking for how much time is left. Wow, clearly I'm at the end of my energy today. What's going on? Quickly running out of brain power. Uh, hurry, finish. Um, so I dropped on a day, and this might be later, so it seems appropriate to subtract these, but now I'm realizing I'm looking for the time left. So this How much time is left? Well, I'm going to get time left, and right now I'm just trying to get day. If the day it was dropped helps me at all, it's going to be in knowing that this is 0, in which case I can just look at the time remaining. Let's go for that. We'll come back to this because this is wrong. I'm only halfway through that thing and I'm getting lost in the wrong data. Time left, let's just look at Pearl's current item time cooldown. Now this was set to a number in the future when I dropped it. This is the day I dropped it. This is the time beyond. So it's the time of day that I dropped it plus some extra time. Okay. So now this is a number that makes some sense. I'm probably just, right? But I'm going to go ahead and subtract a ton if Q is, well, in this case, negative is why I'm noodling this now. Say like this time cooldown is actually a week ahead and I've only gone 3 days. Well, the day of the year today is more than the day of the year that I dropped it. So now I know how many days it has been since I dropped it. That's what's up. Okay. Day of the year today, the day that I dropped is in the past. So this is more than that. This is how many days since I dropped. Okay, days since dropped. Let's try to be explicit. Cool. I know I'm going to condense all this. My brain is really slagging right now, so I'm going to get through this and stop. But cool. We know what day it is now. We figured out how many days since I dropped it. Could be 0. This could be the same day. But if it's not, then I need to make a big reduction to the time left. Okay, this is not correct. This is not correct. Time cooldown was set as the time of day that I dropped it, whatever day it was, plus some time. Since I know the day I dropped it, that's going to be okay. But the point is, this is potentially a large number covering a week, and that's okay. But I need to subtract some based on how big this is. How much? Well, let's just call it. I need to do math, which is not going to be a pleasant thing to do. This is days, not weeks. That's 24 hours times whatever days, yeah. So it's possible at that point that time left is 0 or less. That's cool. And we are doing time display now. Thank you very much. So what does this mean? I'm not using this, first of all. Not in this way. I need to use it here because this is incorrect, it needs to reflect some now in here, and I'm not doing that yet. And now meaning time of day. From midnight on this day, from midnight. Mm, uh, this minus, no, this is going to be a number in the future. So this is a larger number. Yeah, time left. That's right. This is a larger number. This is a thing in the future. So it's this minus dt now, time of day, minutes, day, time, time. Yeah, time of day. Time span? Dude, what is that? What is time span? Do I get float out of that? Okay, stop. Date, time of day, date, time span, time span? Really? It's a read-only struct. Bruh. Boy, you really are being a pain in the butt, aren't you? This is like not even Unity. This is low-level C# Microsoft stuff. Time span, time of day, time span. Span? Yeah, duration. So what is the time of day duration? Is that what I'm going for? Really? Can I do seconds? Why does it say int time span is the class? That's not what I'm doing right now. That is interesting. Let me go for it. And see, that's not a float. I need to get to a float. I suppose I could just. Man, I need the clock. I need the clock. Uh, Bruh. Time of day is a time span. And I'm trying to get seconds, and it's really being kind of a pain in the butt. But I'll take it if I can convert this to a float. And now I'd like to do something with this. Thank you very much. Pain. This is going to be a larger number because it's set in the future, and I'm now subtracting that. I think that's right, and now I need to test this, which means I need to set some data. I know I can condense this. Well, no, I used that more than once. Actually, that's fine. All right. Mm. I'm gonna have to do that conditional later. I need to set this data in order to test it. So how do I set this data? By the way, when I do drop it, I'm going to have to do the exact same thing. When I drop a pearl, I'm going to have to go find out now, day of the year plus whatever fix. I need to do this fixed here too. Ugh. Yep. But I'm going to need to do that when I drop the pearl as well. In order to set this number, I need to set the day dropped. But then I also need to set time of day appropriately in the same way. And if it's rounded and that's fine to the second, that's fine. I don't care. This will actually display milliseconds though, if I want, which is fun. I can absolutely see some player like watching the countdown going down so they can use their pearl. I can absolutely see that. By the way, wow, I need to set. So here I have this day dropped. I have this time cooldown. I also have dropped. This Pearl data that says I have been dropped and you are in cooldown, or I am not dropped and you can use me again. I need to set that to be false. When do I do that? Because if I do it here, then you have to be here for it to be ready to go. So I can't do that. If I do it in the game, then I need to do this kind of calculation all over the place, which is expensive and wrong. Uh, there's going to be, I've already started to think about how I'm going to implement rules that these pearls affect in the matches. There's going to be at least one manager of pearls that does the dropping. There could be just one manager of pearls, but I think there's one for player can, rifle through their selection of pearls and pick one to drop, or there is a pearl that you have picked and brought into the match ready to drop, and that's the one you got to choose from. Either way, you're going to pick it, you're going to drag it over the battlefield, and then click and drop it. Or, click and drag and then let go, probably. Because where you drop the pearl matters and when and all that stuff. And there could be a separate manager for the effect of pearls because there's just a whole raft of rules that need to be implemented, and I want a separate tool for that. It's possible that this manager that does the grabbing and dropping of pearls also does this calculation to determine, yep, the pearl's ready to go now. I would love it if you knew you had like a 15-second, you were 15 seconds away from being able to drop your pearl. You go into a match and you watch it disabled and then enabled, and you can grab it. Not so sure. I think it matters if we have to select the pearl before we go into the match or not. Wherever it is, I'm going to need to have some of this logic to undrop a pearl and have it available. Cooldown is done, you can drop it again. All right, my brain is totally running on fumes right now. I can feel the mistakes about to happen, and I would be so smart to stop right here because I've set up a display for our pearls to show cooldown, I have done modest amount of data massaging to make sure that we have the ability to hold, hey, have I dropped a pearl and how long ago was it? So that we can show the data. Oh, this is funny. Look at this. This is literally showing a large number. And it is counting down. That's fun. I've played, I bet, 48 matches. So 0 minus 48. Yeah, okay. This actually makes sense. Well, this is fun to watch. There would be no reason to show milliseconds if it doesn't actually do that. So I can adjust my function. This number is going to be reduced. Has to. It's pushing the word time off the label. In fact, let me just tweak that right now, because I know I don't want that. I don't need this much precision, first of all. And second of all, the amount of time showing days. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm doing this calculation wrong, which tells me I really need to stop. Like, I really need to stop. It's saying 0 now because I literally lost the profile data when I saved the script. But that's fun to see this counting down. Yeah, I need to stop. I'm gonna stop. Data's okay. I have some progress on displaying it, although I'm not happy with this label. And I know this number isn't quite right yet because it's showing me a large negative number. This was 0, and then this is time of day in seconds, which is, yeah. In fact, if this was negative, this wouldn't show at all, which that's correct. Actually, yeah, that is correct. I don't need to fix that. That was correct. And if this was negative, you wouldn't see it. So yeah, that's correct. But in order to test it, wow, I need to pretend I dropped a pearl and set this data. And then I can see this actually display properly. All right. All right, I'm gonna think on that, figure it out, and do that later because I'm completely out of gas. If I go any further, I'm gonna make a mistake, and I don't want to make a mistake. I love in uninterruptible blocks of time, and I happen to get some. So I was like, "Party, let's go! Woo, yeah, woo, yeah!" But no, I would be a clown to do something like that, and I am not a clown. I'm not a fool. I'm a smart ape doing smart things. And the smart move right now is to stop. I'd love to keep going. I want to keep going. I know I shouldn't keep going. But I won't stop thinking about it. I just won't be able to make a mistake. See, that's the smart. Me being smart. Okay, I'm out. Bye. Take care. Be good. Do well. See ya.